Dang it, I think I broke my arm. I just fell down this area here. I fell down. I've got blood coming out everywhere. Get my shears out. Trusty shears. We're going to cut, expose. I know I broke my arm. I know I freaking broke it. I know I broke it. I know I broke it. Oh, it hurts. Still, it's not bleeding very badly. It's still kind of oozing and pouring out. Let's go ahead and see what we got. Oh, yeah, it's definitely broken. Oh, crap. Oh, man, it's definitely broken. It's super dirty. So I'm going to pull the syringe out of here. I'm going to start to irrigate this. I do have a couple-hour drive before I get home. Okay. If I've got any tweezers, we can use tweezers. The bleeding's controlled. Now, if there were life-threatening bleeding and it was pouring, spraying, and pumping out of my arm, I wouldn't be able to put direct pressure here, so I'd have to go up here to a brachial point to squeeze. But right now, the bleeding has stopped, thankfully. I'm just trying to flush it out with whatever I've got. Don't use river water. Use your drinking water if that's all you have. But we're trying to establish that we're not going to get an infection a couple of days from here. If you have Q-tips in your kit, that's also what some of these, what kits contain Q-tips for, is to clean this dirt out. Oh, okay. Got most of the dirt cleaned out here. I'm going to go ahead and expose this a little bit more. Oh, gosh, that hurts really bad. Okay, now we can use some of our wound prep wipes, PVP, BZK, whatever we've got to clean around. So I've irrigated it. The bleeding is stopped. I use my wound prep wipes around here. I'm going to take some gauze. I'm going to put some bacitracin or triple antibiotic ointment on here, on the gauze itself, and I'm going to cover this up. I'm not going to wrap this in place because if for some reason the couple-hour trip I have to get back, which I think I'll be able to drive just fine. When it comes to splinting, we want something rigid, something that we can pad the splint with, and then something to bind it. So we're going to use a Percy's elastic wrap here. We're looking at least a couple hours drive home. I've cleaned it so that I'm not going to get an infection. We've prepped it with bacitracin. Now I want to form this splint. So being that I can't use that hand, I could go ahead and press it against my body, whatever I need. I'm pretty much just going to splint in this position. I want to make sure that my splint here is going to go ahead and immobilize what's above and below the brake and support the brake itself. So I've got no constricting jewelry on my hand. Now I want to check circulation, motor, and sensation. So I'm going to squeeze the capillary bed or squeeze my thumb, kind of blanch it out, and make sure that the blood comes back within 2 to 3 seconds, showing I've got good perfusion on my fingers and on my hand. Now I'm going to just try to move my fingers. I've got good movement. The brake didn't affect the musculature or the flow of blood. How is my S for sensation? Circulation, motor, sensation. I've got good sensation in all the fingers. Definitely have a broken bone here. So good circulation, good motor, good sensation. We've cleaned it, treated it. We're going to put the gauze on top. The splint has been sized. It's going to immobilize above and below the brake and stabilize the brake. I'm going to go ahead and put in a C curve into this so that it's nice and rigid. And now I'm going to go ahead and slide my hand into it. If I can manually support the brake above and below. Oh, that's not going to work yet, guys. You got to get this shirt out of the way. Oh, man. Oh, really help if I had somebody else here to help. Okay, stabilize above and below the brake. Oh, I'm going to put it into the C-curve splint there. Okay, sweet. Okay, it's stabilizing it. I'm going to go ahead and bring the splint in just a little bit around my hand. I feel like I can tolerate that pain. All right. Now we can put our gauze on top of this. But for this instruction, we're going to keep it off for right now. So we've exposed it. I've got my gauze. And now I'm going to go ahead and wrap it with my elastic wrap. Oh, I'm going to try to scoot up just a little bit. I'm going to use my own foot here. It's kind of a purchase point, place to get some working area underneath the splint. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and put, okay, we've got our gauze with our bacitracin on it. Cover that up, try to prevent any infection. Really hurts. Got good circulation, good motor, good sensation. Get my foot a little farther under there. I've got a little spot to draw that splint up. I'm going to go just above the injury site. I'm not going to cover it. I want to leave it exposed just in case. Worst case scenario, if I'm out here for more than just today, which it shouldn't be much longer, now I can go ahead and access that injury site. Oh, it's stable. Okay. Now I can access that injury site and continue to treat it if I need to. I can monitor for infection. Wrap it nice and firm. We're going to want to assess and make sure that we're treating the patient's pain here. Okay, want to keep the fingers exposed. After we splint, we want to assess for circulation, motor sensation. And now I've left this spot open, and I'll just wrap it in with some roller gauze. Okay, we want to keep this spot site exposed so that I can treat for infection and monitor it if we're out here for more than just a couple days. It should be just a few hours before I get back for me to get back to my home. Now, if we need to, as this thing came unrolled, you can utilize this sling, this ACE type bandage gauze here as a sling if need be. So if I were getting up a little bit higher here, I could undo this last wrap, because the idea, the purpose of this wrap is to bind the splint to yourself. If I needed to, I could reach up here and start to wrap this around, go underneath here, and now I've got a makeshift sling, okay, so I can hike on out. I believe I'm going to be able to drive. My vehicle's right here, so I'm not going to use that. I'm going to go ahead and just utilize the entire wrap for my arm. So this Percy's elastic wrap will double as a makeshift or improvised tourniquet. We'll show you that video a different day. My nice clean gauze is over my nice clean injury. Keep the logo exposed. Buy a t-shirt. Supports the cause, please. And continue wrapping around. When you're wrapping this binding, these wraps around an injury site, this is where I really start to see that pain alleviated, right? We've got something rigid holding it in place. We've treated for the injury site, and then we're also going to go ahead and start to wrap the splint to the arm and add some pressure to it. Whenever we're wrapping around somebody's arms, two things we need to consider are we wrapping this around somebody's arm to create a firm handshake to hold gauze in place, hold a splint in place, or are we wrapping something around somebody's arm to completely cut off circulation, such as with a tourniquet? This is just being used to hold the splint in place, so we're going to want to be able to make sure we can monitor for circulation, motor, and sensation in the hands. If somebody starts to lose sensation, starts to get this tingling in their fingers, all we have to do is loosen up that wrap a little bit. I would say use about 3/4 of the wrap before you really start to cinch down on it. Reason being, I'm going to use up probably 1/2 to 3/4 of this, just lightly wrapping the splint to my arm. Then with the last half, last quarter, that's when I'm going to start to cinch it down. That way, if I do need to loosen this up, then I can just undo that last half or so, those last couple of wraps, and then provide some relief. Same thing with like the Israeli dressing. You have this closure bar. These open up right here. All I'm going to do now is find some material like right here and slide that onto here, and then slide this piece onto here. It'll hold it in place. Now my injury site is still exposed. Somebody around here. So now my injury site's still exposed, so I can treat for infection, treat for bleeding, add some new gauze, and now I can just add the roller gauze on top of that. Now if for some reason you do have a long ways to go, a way to improvise a splint or a sling would be if you had just a basic t-shirt. Take that t-shirt, wrap your arm into it like this. And we're going to say that the injury site's all wrapped up. And now I can hike out. Just make sure you pull it around. T-shirts are a little bit flimsy to use. So if you can, if you're able to, for instruction purposes, I'm going to use my broken hand right now just to button this shirt down a few buttons, or up, I should say. Once you button up your shirt, say 2, 3, 4 buttons, I could just find out whatever position my arm feels the most comfortable and stick my arm into my sleeve, and now I'm hiking out. Next, another thing you can do is button this up all the way, put my arm across to wherever it feels comfortable, and now I'm going to start to pull my shirt up around. For instruction purposes, I'm using my broken arm. Start to pull this shirt up around my arm like this. What's important when using your shirt is to actually reach around and get some of that back material, the material around your side. Start to push and feed that up so it provides more support for your arm. Last thing you could use is if you had a trauma dressing, such as the one we just used here. So the Israeli style or North American Rescue style dressings, you could use those also. I'm improvising a sling here. I don't necessarily need to use that pressure bar for anything in particular. I can go around my neck, Put this into position, whether I want my arm up here, down here, or wherever I want it. Go back around, whatever you feel comfortable with. Use your closure bar to lock it down on itself once you've got it in place. Once you've got it fully slung, okay, make sure you check circulation. Squeeze the nail. Make sure it turns white and then refills in about 2 to 3 seconds. That's capillary refill. Shows that we've got good circulation. Then you're going to want to check sensation on each of the fingers to make sure you haven't lost sensation from the break or the binding and splinting. And then check and just make sure you can get a little bit of movement out of the fingers to make sure we haven't affected that. At any point in time, now in all theory, all honesty, this is supposed to be dressed up and covered right now with our gauze and our roller gauze. As you're moving out, as you're taking care of this person, you want to make sure that their hands aren't turning blue, aren't starting to lose circulation. If they are, then just loosen some of this wrap that you have on you. So that's a broken wrist. Prevent for infection, treat for infection. Make sure you've got something rigid, something padded, and something to wrap this to yourself. We'll get into improvising splints and a whole lot more in our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.